Hey rivals, welcome to Back's Attacks. I was first a little bit confused on how to use Huojin and thought I would do some experiments to figure him out a little better and then share those tips with you. So we're going to be using him in our Kingdom Raid today, and first let's review his spells. The first one, Purifying Flames, affects both friendly and enemy targets, immediately taking away 20% of their maximum hit points. And then afterwards, it heals back the friendly troops and the enemy targets for a different rate and for a different time period. So they'll both eventually get back more hit points than they lose. The second spell, Cauterize, also affects both friendly and enemy targets, dispelling debuffs and also getting rid of the healing effects of Purifying Flames. For the friendly target though, it will heal back your troops and they'll gain 35% increased attack speed for a good 7 seconds. Green Dragon Crescent strikes a building for a medium amount of damage, and if that shot destroys the building, then your troops will get a 10% increased damage for the entire rest of the battle, and that can stack 3 times. So this first go around, we'll just kind of take a look at each of the spells and what they do. We're going to come in opposite the Freeze Tower, because that's a little bit of a weakness dealing with the spell towers, and there's lots of free mana on the outside. So we'll be able to charge up our ranged with mana, and then get to use all of those. We'll do a sweep over those building pups to pop them right away, because that's where we're going to come in from. And we'll gather up all the mana. We have Viscaria to do this. One thing I don't show too much, but that is a fun idea, is to, if you want to sweep Viscaria back and forth over the base several times, you may have cases where several buildings are all under 20% of their health, in which case one of those Purifying Flames will get rid of all of them. So we drop down all the troops super quickly here, drop down the Purifying Flames and capture those close by buildings nearby as well. And then we cauterized immediately, so now the troops are boosted by that. One thing to note is that when the Purifying Flames is active, you'll see kind of a white puff that's coming from them. And you can see some of my troops in the back are still doing that. Those ones were missed by the Cauterize. And once they get that boost from the third spell, the Green Dragon Strike, you'll notice that they have an orange circle under their feet, and you notice a green puff of cotton, it looks like, that surrounds the troop. So it's easy to see when they're under the benefit of that third spell. Alright, so that was just an example. We got to see all 3 in practice. What happens if you want to just use the Purify alone on your own troops? And one situation to do that is where you don't expect to be taking heavy damage, and so the 20% up front damage on your own troops isn't so bad. And so coming in from an area where they're not likely to take damage for a few seconds is a good way to do that. And if you're not going to be taking damage, you're probably not going to be dealing damage, and so there's no need to include the buildings in the Purifying Flames. So on this one, we're going to build up enough mana to cast the spell, and then our troops are going to come in near that Dragon Roost. And there's not too many long-range defenses there. So we'll have a few seconds to start getting our healing back from the Purifying Flames. So drop them down quickly, get them all under there. And we're just going to use it that once, and there's that kind of white puff underneath them when they're under that effect. And so you can see visually how long that lasts. And we're not going to use the Cauterize, we're just going to let their heal over time continue. And we'll build up mana to 15 and then drop down the Crescent Strike. And you definitely want to do that on a building that is close to death, so that the spell will kill the building and not your troops, so that your troops get the bonus from the increased damage. So that's good as a finisher spell, and it's also good if you have a Mana Hunter, as I do here. In order to build up some quick mana, instead of using it on Cauterize, you can choose to use it for the Green Dragon Strike. So that was an example of using one Purify on pre-deploy, and then saving the rest of the mana for the third strike. Alright, now here's another example, if you can also get high mana up front, is to use the Purify and the Cauterize together as a combo, one immediately after the other. Now the effect on that is that both your troops and whatever buildings are hit by the Purify are going to lose 20% of their health, but your troops, when you cast the Cauterize, are going to get almost exactly that much back, so it really is about an even trade-off, and so they'll get that 35% increased speed for 7 seconds. So the net effect of the combo is that your troops will be about the same health as where they started. The enemy buildings that are hit by it are all going to be down 20%. And your troops will be increased in their speed for about 7 seconds. So that's a modest effect for the fact that you're using 15 mana to do it. But it is kind of an interesting combo. Alright, so we'll get the troops down here. And we're going to hit him with Purify, and immediately we'll do the Cauterize right behind it. Alright, so those buildings are going down quick, and our troops are moving quickly, attacking quickly. And if we have the mana for it, then we can get one of the Crescent Strikes as well. So now they've got increased damage from the combo. They had the increased speed for about 7 seconds. So the troops are really doing a lot of work on this attack. Now the bases I'm hitting here aren't that big, but I just wanted to see what the spell combos can do and figure out what situations you would want to use in it. Alright, so that's the 1-2 punch, the Purify Flames Cauterize combo. A third way to use the spell is, what if you just use the Purifying Flames, and what if you just use it on the buildings? Wouldn't it be nice to cast the spell 5 times in a row and have the buildings take 100% damage and die immediately? Well, you can't do that, because once a building is under the Purify spell, it won't let you cast it on again, or it won't take any extra damage from it. So you're limited to just doing it once, but you can do it one after the other on different buildings. And the effect there is that you're going to be doing 20% damage to each of the buildings in the area every time you cast the spell. And if the troops are able to take them out quickly, they won't get that chance to heal back up. And by doing it on the buildings and not your own troops, they're not going to take any of that 20% damage from the Purify. So in this one, with this idea, you're basically spamming the low-cost spell and doing it to do a pretty decent amount of damage to several buildings at once. I didn't do it in here, but again, it would be a good example of using it after a couple of Viscaria sweeps that almost kill the buildings and leave them with a little bit of health. Alright, so we'll get the troops in there quickly. You'll notice I am using a Mana Hunter so that I can have more mana to be able to spam on these spells. Alright, so we'll drop that there, trying not to catch our own troops, but do it ahead of the troops on the buildings. And we just repeat that several times. Now, because they're going to heal back more damage than they're taking, you really kind of want to do that on buildings near you. Where I'm aiming it right over there on the left side is too far away, so it's not too helpful there. In fact, it may not even be helpful where it casted there. Alright, after the Stronghold goes down, we've got mana for the Green Crescent Strike. And I'm looking for a low hit point building, so that we can gain a benefit from it. Use the slow-mo effect, just waiting patiently for that to happen. And I still missed. You'll notice that the troops did not get their green fuzzy. So that building must have had some life left after I hit it there. So that's something you're going to have to feel out. And the higher level your Ancient, the better off you'll be, because it'll do much more damage as you upgrade the Ancient. Alright, the last question is, how good is Cauterize, how good is Huojin on bases like this one, where you have some nasty spell towers in the core, you've got an Insanity Tower, a Freeze Tower under Primus Conduit. This is something I would normally use Jal on for sure, and I'm just curious if the Cauterize function to debuff the effects will be able to save us on this base. Now, since mine is kind of low level, to be fair, I'll give him some extra starting mana. Alright, so the conditions are pretty good for him. We've got that one spell tower out in front. I'm going to distract it with one early troop drop and then hope to kill it quickly before it can fire again. Then I hope to be able to cast the Cauterize right after the central spell towers fire to debuff that, wipe out the spell towers, and move in on the stronghold. You can probably guess how effective this is going to be. Those spell towers under Primus Conduit, they recover pretty quick. So we've got our debuff down. I'll try to draw some fire with the dragon. Alright, we had enough mana to be able to get a second one. But that's it. We're out of mana, and the spell towers are not out of juice. So those troops were just completely wiped out. Not even close to getting to the stronghold. So, have to go back to Jal on this one. But still fun to try these new things. Alright, let's just recap the spells of Huajin after what we've seen today. So with the Purify spell, you want to include the enemy buildings when they are already close to dying, or you think that they will be killed within 5 seconds. If they're going to take longer than that, don't include them in the cast. And you can also use it if you want on your own rear deploy troop without including any buildings. There's no problem with that. For the Cauterize, there's never a reason not to go ahead and include whatever buildings as long as you catch all your own troops. And the trick with Cauterize is you want to use it either immediately after the cast of the Purify, or basically not at all, keeping it as an emergency debuff, more like Aegis' second spell. The combination of the two for 15 mana overall does 20% damage to the foes, increases your attack speed by 35%, but that's about it. A little bit on the expensive side. I hope you enjoyed this look at Huojin, and thanks for watching.